Welcome back. If you're like me, you're probably sick to death of hearing financial guru types on TV saying that we don't save enough. The fact is, they're right, we don't. We Americans, between 1950 and 2000, we've saved 1.9%. In other years, we saved 17%. We average about 9.8. This is why I propose making a rule to save 15% of your income no matter what the source. If you just have it as a plan, it'll never happen. Saving someday just doesn't work. Think of it like when you get in your car, you put on your seatbelt. It's a habit. It's a good habit that you started, and this is another one. Another one might be setting your keys by the door or turning off your phone in a movie theater. This method is available to you right now. You don't need anyone's help. You don't need to hire a financial guru. You don't need a life coach. You can do this right now all by yourself. You might need to ease into this, obviously. If you're not currently living at 85% of your income, you may need to ease into cutting discretionary spending or devoting any increases to your savings until you reach the goal of 15%. This may take, say, up to a year. You should be able to do it within a year. The secret to eliminating all your money troubles is to simply spend less than you make. That sounds very simple, but that's the fact. Anyone on any income can do this. What income do you apply this to? The answer is all income, no matter what the source. Anytime you get a check or cash, you immediately deposit 15% into your savings by doing a bank transfer or having an online account like an Ally account. Very quick and easy. It only takes a minute at the most, and you want to do it at the exact time that you receive the income. That way you don't put it off, don't do it at the end of the month. You do it as you receive the income. Just make it a habit. This doesn't need to be complicated or stressful at all. You never want to postpone or delay doing this. So it's just like putting on your seatbelt. If you do a 401k at work, you can count that, your contribution, part of it, towards the 15%. So if you're saving 10% of that paycheck, then count that as part of your 15% goal. You don't want to count the employer portion, the part that they kick in. Say they kick in 3%. You don't count that. So again, Van Cleve rule number 2 is you save 15% of your income no matter what the source. And if you do this, you'll never have to worry about money. Okay, in the big picture, our lives are divided into 3 basic stages. Getting established, which usually is around age 20 to 35. Then we have the accumulation phase, accumulation of assets, roughly age 35 to 65. Then the retirement stage, age 65 and beyond, or earlier if you can do it. Your primary goals are first, solvency, that is the ability to pay all your essential bills without going into credit card debt or anything. Then security, and then success, meaning investing. And if you never get to the success stage, don't sweat that. I mean, it's not a problem. Some people don't. They just get by, and that's fine, as long as you can pay your bills without going into debt. In the establishment phase, the first thing you're going to do is create an emergency fund. Now, they'll tell you anywhere from 1 month salary to 6 months salary. Or sometimes they'll say $1,000 or 6 months worth of expenses. I leave it up to you to figure out what that amount should be, but it should be whatever you're comfortable doing. This money will be kept in your checking account. It won't earn any interest, but that's all right. It doesn't need to, but it does need to be available in your checking. Beyond that, your savings will go into a savings account, as long as it's FDIC insured, such as your bank or an Ally online banking account, which pays more interest. The other thing that you'll start in your establishment phase is getting insurance on things. I'll talk about that in the next video. In the accumulation phase, you're going to focus on building your lifetime assets, your house, your furniture, your car. So what you'll be saving for in this accumulation phase is reserves for things that you need to buy. So rather than going into credit, you are going to save for these things before you need them. Saving in a reserve fund, sometimes it's called a sinking fund, is the opposite of credit. So you're saving in advance of the need, and then by the time the need comes around, you have the money. Think of it this way. Your credit payment is the principal that you're borrowing plus interest. So if you can afford that, why can't you afford to set the money aside to begin with and actually earn interest on it instead of paying interest? At the end of the chapter on spending in this book, Understanding Money, I'll show you a way to create a reserves list where you list the need and the date that you need it in the future and what you would have to put aside each month to do this. Once you do this, you'll soon discover that you can't possibly do it all. And that's the point of doing the exercise, is now you're going to narrow that reserve list down to things that really are essential, really are needed. The main thing is to don't get discouraged and don't give up because this seems unattainable. So after your emergency fund and your reserves, savings beyond that are for things like investing in stocks and real estate or business. When you start investing, find yourself a good investment advisor. I would recommend one that charges for transactions and not for a percentage of what they have with you in your portfolio. And obviously you want one that doesn't churn, as they say, or do a lot of trades, cost money. In the retirement phase, the emphasis is on having options. You want the option to whether you keep working or not. For one, I want to keep working. I don't want to sit around and play golf all day or sit around and watch TV. I'd rather work. So when you're in retirement, you can just cut back and just work part-time. But you want to have the choice. You want to have options. That's the goal. Another thing I don't believe in is living poor so that you can die rich. That doesn't make any sense. Or leaving your children a pile of money. You're not helping them. That isn't going to do them any good. All it's going to do is make them lazy and feel entitled. It's fine to leave them a little nest egg to get them started in their life, but don't make a goal of leaving your children a huge fortune. That's dumb. Finally, I get really tired of hearing experts, so-called, on TV produce figures of an amount that you need to retire. You need to have $2 million, or that's ridiculous. All it does is discourage you. It's the opposite of what they should be advising. Just do your best, and whatever it is, it is. Click the subscribe button and go to my website, rockledgerinc.com, to buy my book, Understanding Money. And we'll see you next week.